judgment in the appeal, the Queen on the application of Miller and another.
23rd June 2016, a UK-wide referendum produced a majority in favour of leaving the EU, and the government then announced its intention to trigger Article 50. The issue in these proceedings have nothing to do with whether the UK should exit from the EU or the terms or timetable for that exit. The main issue is whether the government can trigger Article 50 without the prior authority of an Act of Parliament. The other issues concern the obligations of the UK government under the devolution legislation before triggering Article 50, and in particular, whether the legislatures in Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland must be consulted. So far as the main issue is concerned, as a general rule, the government has a prerogative power to withdraw from international treaties as it sees fit. However, the government cannot exercise that power if it would thereby change UK laws, unless it is authorised to do so by Parliament. The claimants argue that as a result of leaving the EU, UK law will change and legal rights enjoyed by UK residents will be lost. Accordingly, they say, the government cannot trigger Article 50 unless authorised by Parliament. In reply, the government argues that the 1972 Act does not exclude the power for ministers to withdraw from the EU treaties, and that Section 2 of the 1972 Act actually caters for the exercise of such a power. Today, by a majority of 8-3, the Supreme Court rules that the government cannot trigger Article 50 without an Act of Parliament authorising it to do so.
We're going to sign 3 memorandums right now. The first one is withdrawal from the United States from the Trans-Pacific Partnership.
Everyone knows what that means, right? We've been talking about this for a long time. Thank you. Okay. Great thing for the American worker, what we just did.
Next, a federal government employee hiring freeze.
Except for the military.
Except for the military.
Except for the military.
Next is the policy in regard to Mexico City. That's it.
Thank you, Press.
Thank you very much.
Mr. President, reaction to the lawsuit today?
Thank you. Can you go ahead and walk out the side door, please?
Without
Thank you, guys.
There's been one call. I talked to General Flynn about this again last night. One call talks about 4 subjects. One was the loss of life that occurred in the plane crash that took their military choir. 2 was Christmas and holiday greetings. 3 was to facilitate or to talk about a conference in Syria on ISIS, and 4 was to set up to talk about, after the inauguration, setting up a call between President Putin and President Trump. That I don't believe that has been set up yet, because the call was to say, after they did follow up, 2 days ago, about how to facilitate that call once again. So there have been a total of 2 calls with the ambassador and General Flynn. And the second call came, I think it's now 3 days ago, that was to say, once he gets into office, can we set up that call? It hasn't, to my knowledge, has not occurred yet.
Michael Flynn.
Of America, another big round of applause for her. capabilities approaching those of the United States and our allies. Unbelievable. The next president of the United States, right here. Not angry. What I am is I'm very determined to make sure that this country is ready for my children and my. And he was
The election era.
and they were dead, and and these guys are we've beaten them, and we knew that. I mean,
Was it worth it in the end, taking that risk and rabble-rousing?
Very much so. It changed the way the intel community responded to the warfighter.
flagship phones bursting into flames, some even on airplanes. After months of investigation, Samsung is blaming the design and manufacturing of the Note 7's battery.
I deeply apologize to all of our customers, carriers, retail and distribution partners.
Samsung now says they may have asked too much of their battery suppliers by building a much stronger battery while keeping the phone smaller.
And engineers may have been under enormous pressure from their bosses. So Samsung suffers from this problem, and it's been pointed out before. They have this featureitis, and it's this tendency in Samsung for engineers to put a lot of features in a phone, to sort of check a list for their bosses.
The crisis has cost the company billions of dollars and damaged its reputation. Samsung has been able to withstand that. The most recent International Data Corporation report, which includes the recall period, shows Samsung with a commanding 21% of market share. Its closest competitor, Apple, lags behind with 12.5% market share. Samsung's profits reportedly have not been hurt. The company's most recent quarter is forecast to be its best in about 3 years. Strength in its other businesses offset the damage done by the recall. That spells relief for some South Koreans who believe that Samsung's successes are the country's successes.
As you all know, Samsung ranks top in brand value and the best corporation in South Korea.
Samsung means a lot to people. It is a big corporation and common brand.
Samsung still commands loyalty outside its home country, too. In the U.S., an Ipsos Reuters poll found despite the recall, 91% of current Samsung users would likely buy another Samsung smartphone.
We are an organization that takes great pride in our ability to listen, learn, and improve. The lessons we have learned are now deeply reflected in our processes and in our culture.
The company is promising its customers this won't happen again. Alexandra Field, CNN.
مذاکرات آستانه، جایی میان امیدها و تردیدها. هیئت ترکیه همسو با مخالفان سوری بر تداوم آتش‌بس تاکید دارد. ترکیه همچنین میگوید باید بر روی ایجاد یک گذرگاه انسانی در سوریه هم تمرکز کنیم. هدف ترکیه ایجاد منطقه امن در شمال سوریه است. محمد الوش، رئیس هیئت مخالفان سوری در مذاکرات آستانه: اگر آتش بس تثبیت نشود، مرحله دوم مذاکرات هم وجود نخواهد داشت. خبرگزاری دولتی ترکیه میگوید مخالفان سوری در روز نخست مذاکرات این خواسته ها را روی میز گذاشتند: جلوگیری از نقض آتش بس، ارسال کمک به مناطق تحت محاصره، خروج شبه نظامیان وابسته به ایران از سوریه و آزادی 13,000 زندانی زن سیاسی. در حالی که آناتولی این زنان زندانی را سیاسی مینامد، از سوی دیگر محمد الوش، رئیس هیئت مخالفان سوری، مدعی است این 13,000 زن زندانی هیچ گونه فعالیت سیاسی نداشتند. نخستین هفته کاری ترامپ و نخستین درخواست‌های ترکیه. این متحد دیروز که مدتی بود روابطش با امریکا تیره شده بود. کورتولموش، معاون نخست وزیر، میگوید 2 درخواست فوری از امریکا داریم: نخست گلن را تحویل دهد، دوم از کمک به پیاده نیروهای کرد سوری دست بردارد. او میگوید موضوع اصلی این است که آیا ترامپ سرکرده یک گروه تروریستی را به یک ملت 80 میلیونی ترجیح میدهد یا خیر. اردوغان در سفر به تانزانیا یک بار دیگر سازمان ملل متحد را به باد انتقاد گرفت با شعار همیشگی دنیا بزرگتر از 5 است. اشاره او به 5 کشور دارای حق وتوست. او در جمع میزبانان تانزانیایی خود گفت بیایید با شعار دنیا بزرگتر از 5 است همه با هم متحد شویم. وزارت خارجه ترکیه با صدور بیانیه ادامه شهرک‌سازی‌های اسرائیل و ساخت 560 واحد مسکونی جدید در مناطق فلسطینی نشین را محکوم کرد. 2 کشور به تازگی سعی کردند پس از حادثه کشتی ماوی مارمارای به روابط شکراب شده خود سر و سامانی بدهند، اما همیشه برای کشورهایی که در مقام رهبری جهان اسلام برمیآیند اختلافاتی با دیگر کشورهای جهان وجود خواهد داشت. عملیات مشترکی دیگر میان روسیه و ترکیه در شهر الباب، خاک سوریه. در حالی که مذاکرات صلح سوریه در آستانه قزاقستان ادامه دارد، حالا وزارت دفاع روسیه اعلام کرده که جنگنده های این کشور در تاریخ 21 ژانویه عملیات مشترک هوایی با ترکیه در شهر الباب و بر علیه مواضع داعش انجام دادند. رسانه های ترکیه از حضور فیلم فروشنده اصغر فرهادی در سینماهای این کشور خبر میدن. و در پایان سفر آقای اردوغان به تانزانیا و به صدا درآوردن این طبل سنتی افریقایی. شاید این تصویر و زیر و بم‌های تنین این طبل نمایی باشد از شادیانه‌های اردوغان، آن هم تنها چند روز پس از تصویب لایحه تغییر قانون اساسی.
Thank you.